So what I want to encourage you to do is to consider whether or not what you're trying to do to make yourself better is actually hurting you because it's not in alignment with what your body and brain can handle. Hello, everyone. I want to share some science and a concept that really has helped me recently because I didn't understand this dynamic previously. So here's what the new science says about practices. So I'm talking about healthy habits, basically. I call those practices. But so healthy habits would be, you would think, oh, healthy habits, that's working out, that's eating well, that's walking in nature. These would be things, or doing yoga, or blah, 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 right? So there's all from mindfulness meditation. There we go. That's another good one. Now, I'm not going to argue with that those things are generally considered helpful to your health. But I want to give you a new perspective that puts a whole new spin on this. So what the science says is that if you are not willingly taking on a practice or habit, instead you feel forced or someone's saying you have to, then it won't help you. Doesn't matter what it is. It'll actually hurt you because the stress and kind of the incoherence between what you are willing and want and what you're doing is going to cause so much trouble in your nervous system that you might as well not do it at all. So then you'll go, what do I do and how do I do that? Let's back up just a step, because people with chronic illness and chronic pain usually have difficult pasts. Abusive childhoods, neglect, direct, physical abuse, etc. Now, that's always the case, but it usually is. So in those situations, your individual needs were not, no one cared, or they just didn't have the capacity to hold space for you. So now you have a situation where you deny yourself. You deny what you need. You deny even that you want anything because it's too painful to do that. And that's the typical pattern. So now you're going through life and you're trying to be proactive about your health and trying to make your life better because you're struggling. And what tends to happen with that dynamic is that the only thing available to you is to force yourself to do things by will. And that's what I did for years. And what I'm understanding now, and then one reason I think many of those things didn't work for me, is that that's actually toxic to your nervous system. And what I want to introduce is something that you may or may not be able to relate to. So hang in there and know that even if you don't relate to this at the moment, maybe later it will make sense. When you're considering some sort of habit or self-care practice, here's what you need when you're thinking about doing something. So let's just say you want to do mindfulness meditation because everyone says that's the best thing ever. So imagine yourself doing it, or even try it. And if your body is saying no, so here's the sensations you would look for. Kind of stress, like in the jaw, throat, stomach, or upper back and neck, like tension. Or you could feel some sort of repulsion, like you want to go away, run. Those are no's. That means no. Now, if what you're doing is a little hard, but in your body you feel uplifted, so there's almost like a lightness that comes from it, and afterwards you feel a little better, usually, that's probably a yes. Now, there's some nuance to this, so I'm not saying this is black or white, because what can happen is many things that are good for you can be quite uncomfortable at first. Like when I do the Wim Hof ice bath, for example. But when I'm done, I feel a lot better. So that's why I know that it's fortifying for me. I go into the ice. It's like, whoa, this is intense. Then I tend to calm down in the ice. And then I come out and I'm like, wow, I feel so much better. And so that's why I know that's a yes. And my body actually likes it, even though it's kind of intense. So that's what I recommend for yourself. And I did not find mindfulness practice helpful at all for many years because my nervous system just couldn't handle the idea of being still and being quiet and vulnerable. And I had to do other things like mindful movement, mindful yoga, walking in nature, that sort of thing worked for me. So what I want to encourage you to do is to consider whether or not what you're trying to do to make yourself better is actually hurting you because it's not in alignment with what your body and brain can handle. And both those are critical. So don't make yourself wrong just because you do something that everyone says is great and it's not great for you. You have to honor yourself in the process, which may be very difficult at first because you may have no practice. And the other thing that may happen is you may be so numb to your own needs that you're going to have to poke around and try things, maybe even for a little while before you even know if you like it or not, because that's not something that you're used to knowing. I don't know if I like it because I don't even know what I like or want. It's a typical orientation for people that have difficult pasts and have chronic, health challenges. So give it a try. And if you find it helpful, please comment in below and let me know. I'd like to know, if you want to hear more about this sort of information would be helpful for you, I will continue. But when you want to go deeper into this subject, I'd be willing to do that as well. If you found this content helpful, please like and subscribe. You can look forward to more videos about how to overcome chronic illness and chronic pain.